It appears the defense may be onto something. Could it be that the death was actually accidental? Alright, you did it, Mia. I'll be taking that not guilty verdict something. I'm hurt that you have such a low opinion of me, Miss Fey. Huh? I'm not a fool, you know. The prosecution has done its research, Your Honor. We found that there were no lightning strikes on that day at that location. What? What's more, we have evidence that the electrical cable is definitely linked to this case. Evidence, Mr. Payne? Well, what is this evidence? This affidavit. And who is this affidavit from? The pharmacology students who were conducting experiments in their labs that day. Allow me to read out the testimony of the pharmacology students. All equipment in the labs lost power all of a sudden around 3 p.m. that day. Was it a blackout? All of the lab's equipment runs on high voltage, Your Honor. So you're saying the equipment lost power because... Precisely. They lost power because of the severed electrical cable. The power outage occurred at approximately 3 p.m., which fits with the time of death listed at the autopsy report. Exactly. In other words, the victim died as a result of touching the severed electrical cable. According to the students, the cables were very old. They were planning on having them replaced in the near future. I see. Apparently the cables have become so brittle that even the smallest bump would have caused them to break. However, there is one thing that troubles me. If the cables could have been broken by any small bump, then it wouldn't have snapped if it hadn't been bumped into, correct? Well, I suppose you could say that. Miss Fey, do you have any thoughts regarding the case of the severed cables? Your Honor? I don't like how this is looking one bit. I have to come up with something to try to regain some momentum. If it pleases the court, the defense would like to state its opinion. Well then, let's hear it. Who or what was it that caused the cable to break? Umbrella? Well, Your Honor? Nope, that's not it. Nope. I'm gonna just keep trying, at least I'm not losing health. Nope. I'll get there. Nope, that's... I didn't mean to click that at all. Who or what? Your Honor, please think back to Mr. Wright's testimony. The defense testimony? He said that after he pushed the victim, he heard a loud, sharp noise. Now, this happened around 3 p.m., correct? Yes, that sounds right. Wait, are you saying that the lab equipment lost power at 2:55 p.m., which fits right in Mr. Wright's timeline? In other words, it was Mr. Wright's shove that caused the power outage. Yes, the prosecution also came to that same conclusion. And it was that shove that caused Mr. Swallow to be electrocuted. I'm afraid I can't agree with you there, Mr. Payne. What's that supposed to mean? Take a good look at where the victim landed after being shoved. See the umbrella? It's by the electrical pole. That's right, the victim banged into that pole as a result of being pushed. It was that impact that caused the cable to break. Well, that makes sense, and then the victim was electrocuted. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but no, it doesn't make sense at all. If the victim was shoved into a far pole, then he couldn't have been electrocuted by this severed cable in the foreground here. In other words, someone other than my client must have electrocuted the victim. Order in the court. Lamentations of my enemy, how I've longed to hear them. It's true, the defense is absolutely correct. There doesn't seem to be any... Mr. Judge, sir, may I say something? The Madame Attorney's explanation, she said some things that are a little different than I remember them. What the? Please, just once more. May I please testify one last time? Please, Mr. Judge. I'm trying. It just felt weird to, like, put my client under the bus, you know what I mean? Of course it's alright. Just go right ahead and give your new testimony. This is it. She's finally starting to show her true colors. What I witnessed, part 2. The truth is, Feeney pushed him twice. The first time was into the electric pole, that's when the cable broke. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. But Feeney caught up and crashed into him from behind. The cable snapping and Dougie being electrocuted all occurred in less than a minute. Well, it couldn't have because the power went out at 2:55 and he was dead at 3. So after being shoved, the victim got up and tried to run away. That is when the defendant pushed him for the second time. I'm so sorry, Feeney, but I just have to tell the truth. Am I doing the right thing? Am I, Mr. Judge? Of course you are, my dearest. Painful as it may seem, you are. Now then, Miss Fay, you may proceed with the cross-examinations. Oh, I already saw a glaring contradiction. Miss Hawthorne, previously in your testimony you said the following. Actually, I didn't see the moment he pushed Dougie. I know, I'm sorry, I wanted to protect Feeney. So that's why you basically lied to the court? I was a bad girl, I know. Mr. Judge? Yes? Would you please forgive little old me? Of course he won't. What did you... Oh, come now. It was just a little white lie. We'll forget it this time. But please be more careful from now on, alright? Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Judge. Not at all. Ho, ho, ho. The judge had better be more careful of himself. A dark alley is friendlier than that girl. The first time was into the electric pole, that's when the cable broke. You're saying you actually saw the victim get pushed into the electrical pole? I know he doesn't look it, but Feeney can be a bit of an imp when he wants to be. Oh, really? But I never imagined that he would cause an electrical cable to break. Feeney really is scary when he gets mad. Yes, he sounds like a very dangerous individual indeed. Then Dougie tried his best to run away from him. So let me get this straight. You were happily listening to music on your headphones while you watched this scene unfold? What? Miss Fay, I'll have to ask you to stop badgering the witness. I wasn't happy. I was so scared that I couldn't even move. All I could do was stand there and cheer them on. Cheer them on? What do you mean by that? Well, I wish the best for them both, and that they would each give the fight their all. That's very sweet of you to be so sportive. And what happened after that? Feeney caught up to him and crashed into him from behind. That doesn't sound quite right. There were handprints found on the chest of the victim's leather jacket. Mr. Payne, were there also prints found on the back of his leather jacket? Well, no, there weren't. Madame Fay, may I suggest that you listen a little more carefully? I said that he crashed into him from behind, right? My Feeney wouldn't leave any prints behind in that case, would he? Ugh. Cable snapping and all Dougie in less than a minute. Did you actually witness the moment the victim was electrocuted? I'm sorry, I didn't actually see it. I turned my eyes away. That's understandable. Yes, indeed. It would have been a horrific sight for anyone to behold. If I don't figure out the contradiction here, it's all over. She didn't have much time to come up with her lie, so this is my best chance. There must have been a hole in her testimony. Think, Mia. All occurred in less than a minute. Now that I know I can save, it's much nicer.
Objection!
That's enough, witness. I'm afraid I don't understand. You will in a minute. Could you please take a look at this picture? Oh, that medicine. That's the one Feeney likes to take for his cold. It's not the medicine I want you to look at. It's the wristwatch. It stopped at the precise time the victim was electrocuted. In other words, 3:05 p.m. Yes, and your point is, Miss Fay? My point is this. What time was it when the lab suffered that power outage due to the cable snapping? Well, according to the student's testimony, the answer is clear. It was 2:55. Shit. Would you care to explain the court, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne, what exactly happened during this 10-minute interval? The defense proposes that it was during this interval that the real murderer killed Mr. Doug Swallow. Order in the court. What is all this all about? This is nonsense. The real murderer?
Objection!
Even you can't deny that the time between the cable breaking and the electrocution are completely unaccounted for. Then who was it? Who else are you saying could have done it? And there's only one person who could have murdered Mr. Swallow. Only after my client had left the scene. Was there a window of opportunity for the real killer? Miss Faye, is the defense ready to indict someone as this real killer? Yes. It's finally time. This is the moment I've been waiting for. Yes, Your Honor, we are ready. Very well, but remember, if you accuse the wrong person, you will be penalized. Think very carefully before you speak, Miss Faye. It could only have been you, Dahlia Hawthorne. What? How can you... The defense is grasping at straws. 10 minutes passed between the time the cable broke and the time of the electrocution. What exactly were you doing that whole time, Miss Hawthorne? Were you really listening to some music while cheering them both on as they fought? I find it hard to believe that you didn't lift a finger to stop the men dearest to you. Order, Miss Faye. What? I mean, why? Miss Hawthorne, I believe you did witness the two men fighting on that day. However, after Mr. Wright pushed the victim and subsequently left the scene, it was you who pushed Mr. Swallow to his death by your very own hands. How can you say something so mean, Madame Faye? I didn't do anything. Miss Faye, this is very serious charges. You are... Your Honor. Please, I have something I want to say. You? What is it? Please strike everything the defense said just now from the record. What the? Are you daft? You're totally wrong, Miss Faye. Dolly, she couldn't do something like that. Mr. Wright, get back in your seat. Bailiff, grab that man. Leave my Dolly alone. Yeah, you're a dumbass. That boy, he has gotten himself way over his head. Oh, Mr. Grossberg, you're back. It seems I've arrived just in the nick of time. I found the police report on that incident in your newspaper clipping. Police report added to the court record. Thank you so much. It's exactly what I was hoping for. You'd better take a good look at it. It details how you came to lose your boyfriend. Now then, the defense has made a very serious accusation. Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, really, Your Honor, May I interrupt you for just a moment, Mr. Prosecutor? Don't you worry, my dear, I have this situation well in hand. Go right ahead. Madame Faye, are you seriously accusing me of killing my sweet Dougie? Yes, I am. Not only am I saying you murdered Doug Swallow, but you also tried to pin the whole thing on your current lover, Phoenix Wright. I told you that you should let me handle this. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead. How can you say that? I'm absolutely devoted to my dear Feeny. The notion that I would try to frame him is ludicrous. This is all just too much for poor little me to bear. I believe the girl is trying to ask what on earth her motive would be. The answer to that lies somewhere in this police report. It must. District Court Cafeteria, date, time. Victim, Diego Armando, age 28. Occupation, lawyer. Suspect, Dahlia Hawthorne, age 19. Armando ingested poison while interviewing the suspect regarding another case. Traces of poison were found in the victim's coffee cup. No poison was found in the vicinity or on the suspect's person. It is unclear how the poison entered the victim's coffee cup. "8 months ago, an incident occurred in the basement cafeteria of this building. And then the same day, the two of them accidentally meet." Your Honor, the defense requests further testimony from Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. Further testimony? What about? About the events of the day when she first met the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What could that possibly have to do with this case? The witness claims that she has no reason to frame the defendant, am I correct? Well, I have evidence that suggests that she, in fact, had a very good reason. Very well, then. The court grants the defense requests. Young lady, Would you mind staying on for just a bit longer? Of course not, Mr. Judge. Get ready for the battle of your life, Dahlia Hawthorne. Okay. How I met my Feeny. Feeny. I first met my darling Feeny 8 months ago. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. We're so lovey-wovey, we literally make people sick. It's just jealousy, I think. Mr. Wright, do that again, you'll be held in contempt of court. And now we enter the final act of our little drama. As we used to say in the days of my youth, go get her. So until that time, you had been dating Doug Swallow? Yes, I'm a real fool, I know. Letting my emotions change so quickly, I'm ashamed of myself. No, not at all, look at me. I'm infamous for changing my mind. My critics have taken to calling me a Judge Fickle. Ho ho. Maybe you should look for a different line of work. Despite that, however, he always hands down the correct verdict. That's why some people also call him the Great Judgini. Judgini. It's like we were destined to meet in this very courthouse's basement reading room. The courthouse reading room, that's a very strange place to meet the love of your life. That's not true, Madame Faye. After all, Feeny was not only an art student, but he was also planning on becoming a lawyer. I'm not talking about him, I'm talking about you, Miss Hawthorne. What was a literature student doing in the courthouse reading room? This line of questioning is a waste of time. It has nothing to do with our murder case. Miss Faye, I'm warning you, if it has nothing to do with Mr. Swallow's case. I have to remember the judge is on a better trajectory. Your Honor, if you'll allow me some latitude, I think I can establish relevance. Please ask her to continue with her testimony. Very well. Young lady, I've got a simple question for you. What were you doing in the downstairs courthouse reading room? If it pleases Your Honor, the answer is simply this. You were writing a paper on what? On the relationship between modern Senru poetry and the criminal underworld. Oh, that sounds like a fascinating research idea. Am I getting old? Now I've even forgotten what I've forgotten. Forget with the midlife crisis stuff? Mia, what did that girl really come to this courthouse? Isn't that what you wanted to know? And speaking of forgetting things, you haven't forgotten the police report, have you? I went through a lot of trouble to get it, my dear, so be sure to read it carefully. I did. The moment our eyes met, my heart skipped a beat. So what was it about Mr. Wright that made your heart malfunction like that? Hello, Karma Agent. How's it going? In my personal opinion, he just looks like a typical snotty-nosed college brat. Perhaps to a woman your age, but to me, Feeny is handsome. Perhaps to you, Miss Hawthorne, but to the rest of the planet, he's a dime a dozen. Love is a mysterious thing, and I object to this line of questioning. If you were to look at my wife, for example, you might all be shocked. He's telling the truth. It was truly shocking. Beautiful mushroom, growing tall in the darkness, it comes from cow dung. What? It's the poem that best describes how I feel about my Feeny. We've been going out ever since that fateful day. Were there any bad feelings between you and Mr. Swallow? No, none at all. We have parted on very good terms. But that can't be. Our investigation also shows that it was a clean breakup. Huh? Are you sure? Yes, it seems that they both wanted it that way. So the victim wanted to break up with her. So you're saying that Mr. Swallow also wanted to break up with you? Well, you see... What a cruel thing to ask a lovely young lady like this. By the way, I have never once considered leaving my wife. No one cares, Mr. Payne. She didn't deny it. That must mean Doug Swallow must have seen through her little act. He must have gotten the glimpse of her true nature. Listen to me, Mia. That woman has the judge in the palm of her hand, you see. One way to discredit her is to find a contradiction. I did. All right.
Objection!
Miss Hawthorne, you weren't here because of your research paper, were you? Didn't you actually come here for a much more important reason? What is the meaning of this cocky smile on your face, Miss Faye? 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse, there was another tragedy. Another tragedy? Do you mean the incident in which an attorney was poisoned? The name of the suspect in that incident is listed here in this report. And that name is Dahlia Hawthorne. What? Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes, the sweetie pie of everyone's eye, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. She was the prime suspect in a criminal case just 8 months ago. Look, she's back. Not a clue. But someone else might, because I'm not watching, I'm only playing. Order, order, order. This is unbelievable. It's true then. The letters rose or something. Miss Faye, that's not fair. You can't slander my witness. Winston Payne will not allow it. Mr. Prosecutor, I believe I was speaking. Pardon me. Go right ahead. It's true that about 8 months ago, the police expressed some interest in me. Expressed some interest, huh? Mr. Judge, sir, I know I'm under oath, so I'll tell you the absolute truth. I did not commit the crime that occurred during that incident 8 months ago. I see. Okay, I've tied the two crimes together. Now I've just got to stay on the offensive. Well done, Maya. Oh, you really lit a fire in my heart and my buttocks. I can hardly tell which is more inflamed, my spirit or my hemorrhoids. A little bit both. I met the lawyer who was poisoned to discuss something in the cafeteria that day. I left my seat for just a moment, and that's when it happened. From what I heard, it was liquid poison that is lethal in just 2 teaspoons. Not only that, I heard it was a very special kind of poison. So you see, I'm innocent. I wouldn't even know where to get a poison like that. Oh, yes, you would. You were dating a pharmacology student. So that's what happened here 8 months ago. However, as you heard from the witness testimony, she had nothing to do with it. I think the defense is just about out of tricks. I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Payne. But I'm afraid the defense has many more tricks up its sleeve today, and I'll be sure to show them to you before the end of this cross-examination. Ugh. Why does the defense suddenly feel stronger? Aha, Mia, you're glowing with a true lawyer's aura, my dear. That proud posture and self-confidence, absolutely smashing. Yeah. What were you talking about with the defense attorney? Well, I'm sorry, but that's confidential. According to the report, you were being interviewed regarding another case. The lawyer that was killed. He said he wanted to talk about an incident I was caught up in when I was younger. Why don't you tell us all about what that incident was? That has absolutely nothing at all to do with this case. Objection sustained. The defense's question is stricken from the record. You get involved in a lot of incidents, don't you, Miss Hawthorne? Well, I guess I was just born under a bad sign. Don't worry, Dolly, I'll protect you. You heard the man. Now that is true love, young lady. Oh, Feeny, please. Gag, those two really are making me ill, albeit for a decidedly different reason. How long were you gone? I've already answered all these questions for the police, but if you must know, maybe 10 or 20 minutes. And where were you during the stretch of time? Using the toilet? What are you saying, Miss Faye? Toilet? Toilet? My perfect dolly doesn't poop. You're the defendant, Miss Faye. Better luck next time. Oh, Phoebe, please. The police have already looked into this whole matter. This line of questioning is nothing but a waste of court's time. Objection sustained. Miss Hawthorne, please continue with your testimony. Yes, you would. And that's the reason they didn't arrest you? Because no one could show how you could have gotten the poison? I think that's a good enough reason, Madame Faye. She's right, and I think we've all had enough of Miss Faye's questions. So in essence, the main reason Mrs. Hawthorne was never arrested for this crime was because no one could show how she could have obtained the poison. All I have to do is find a way to establish how she could have gotten some, right? Great. Now just Great, now just how did a lit student get a hold of poison of all things? A lit student, Alright, I know. Oh, shit. That's not what I meant to push. The buttons are confusing. And even though I played 2 games and they haven't changed at all.
Objection!
You wouldn't know how to get that kind of poison. I don't believe you. What? In fact, you had easy access to that kind of poison, didn't you? At your boyfriend's lab. The boyfriend? You mean the victim, Doug Swallow? That's right. Up until 8 months ago, Miss Hawthorne was dating Mr. Swallow. And if you'll recall, Mr. Swallow was the pharmacology student at Ivy University. Pharmacology? His laboratory contained highly advanced chemistry equipment. In fact, without such equipment, the culprit could never have obtained such a rare and special poison. Well, Miss Hawthorne, seems you had access to such a poison after all. And then it was a matter of slipping it into the victim's coffee when he wasn't looking. The only person who could have done that was the one sitting at his very table. You. No! Yes. Order. Could it be? That's nothing but a... May I say something, Madame Faye? What is it, Miss Hawthorne? The amount of poison in the coffee was 2 teaspoons, correct? In order to carry that much liquid, you would need some kind of container. Well, yes, that's true. I was searched immediately after the incident took place. Quite true, in fact, the entire courthouse was turned upside down. But they didn't find a suspicious container anywhere, did they? She's right. They even mentioned that on the report. Well, you could have easily gotten rid of something like that small. Excuse me, madame, but this is a court of law. You're saying I threw the poison container away. I think you need to show some kind of proof. Proof? She got me good with that. I have it. I know it. Provide some evidence or I'll have to disallow this line of questioning, Miss Faye. Unless we can come up with some evidence, we're going to lose this lead. The police conducted a full body search of Dahlia and the entire courthouse, and yet the container holding the poison disappeared right after the crime occurred. If you're going to accuse the young lady of committing the murder, where is the container? Boom. You were forced to get rid of the container in a hurry, weren't you? And that's why you passed it on to someone that had nothing to do with the case. Someone that you knew wouldn't be searched. Who is this person? Mr. Phoenix Wright, of course. So the defendant was this witness's accomplice? Of course not. She gave the poison to him, disguised as a present. What? But that's... That's a charming little necklace. Is this a little bottle? It's really quite cute. So what about it? What does it mean, Miss Faye? The day that the witness met and fell for Mr. Phoenix Wright was 8 months ago. August 27th, the very same day as the poisoning incident. Under the pretense of love, and the witness gave my client a present. Yes, English is very hard for me today. I'm tired. All for the purpose of hiding the one piece of evidence that would give her away. What? Are you saying there's a deadly poison in here? No, there's no longer any poison in that bottle. However, I'm certain if the crime lab were to analyze it, they would find a trace amount. No. Order in the court. Objection! On behalf of Dolly, I object. Mr. Wright, control yourself. I won't let you bully her like this. Mr. Wright, I thought I told you to stay in your seat. Mr. Wright, why? Why are you going through so much trouble to protect her? Why? Because I'm madly in love with her. Madly in love. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. Mr. Wright, have you ever thought about this? What exactly would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date? Oh god, that's mean. Why would a woman like Dahlia Hawthorne want to date you anyway? Well, I guess she must be madly in love with me too. Mr. Wright, please, open your eyes. At this point in the trial, I think it should be obvious to everyone. The real reason that Dahlia Hawthorne is dating you is... Dahlia Hawthorne was not and is not madly in love with you. The only thing she is after is that bottle necklace you love to wear around your neck. My necklace? Back there in the waiting room, you said it yourself. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. But what a strange girl asking for a present back like that. For Dahlia Hawthorne, that necklace is irrefutable evidence of her crime. That's why she absolutely had to get it back. You're lying. But you never gave it back to her. And to make things worse for her, you insisted on showing it to everyone you met. That's why she... I don't believe you. No, that's a lie. Come on, Phoenix, bring it together. Mia, are you all right? The defendant, he's getting away. Bailiff, hurry, after him.